Good evening, everyone. I am live here tonight for another edition of our Fusion Insights this week. And I am so excited because I am joined by the gorgeous Nicki Wilson, who is the founder of Genie Recruitment. And Nicki has been a member of the Fusion Circle since the very, very beginning. And Nicki is just someone who I have seen grow her business so quickly. And I wanted to talk to Nicki tonight about what she's been doing with her business and how all of us can learn about how she's made Genie Recruitment such a success. So before we jump into that, I would love to hear from you, Nicki. Welcome tonight, Nicki. And I would love to have you tell us all about you and Genie Recruitment.
Okay, perfect. So Genie Recruitment is a completely consumer dedicated agency. So when I say consumer, we focus on food and beverage, FMCG, retail companies, delivery kitchens, basically anything the consumer might want to spend their money on. My background was completely FMCG and consumer when I first came over to the UAE, but I actually saw that no one was really doing any of the other aspects of consumer. And I felt that I kind of knew what I was talking about. So that's why we started going into different avenues. Initially, I started doing FMCG when I came over to the UAE, and then it kind of went into the retail side, and then eventually we've gone into food and beverage, hospitality, delivery kitchens, the apps associated with everything, and then even many tech startups as well, because they kind of fall within the same remit. I've been in recruitment for 11 years, and Genie started just under 5 years ago now.
And you were kind of known as the woman to go to when it's FMCG recruitment as well. It's so funny. Whenever there is a recruitment question, you are always getting tagged on social media and everybody's mentioning your recruitment firm because you are top of mind. I think that you have recruited so many people and also helped so many businesses find the right staff as well. So I want to know, so Genie's been going for 5 years now, but you started Genie from pretty much nothing. And I would really love to dive deep into this because a number of people, when they start a business, think that they need to have hundreds of thousands of dirhams at their disposal to go and create a business. And I see as well sometimes on the free Facebook group that we have in Female Fusion that you'll have people say, oh, I want to start a business. Where can I get a loan from? And you went completely the other way. And it's also pretty difficult here in this country to go and get a loan to start a business, that it's potentially quite a risky proposition if you can't get a loan. Anyway, so tell me about how you went from having your idea to not having a lot of money. I mean, I think you must have had a little bit because we all know trade licenses aren't free, but how you kind of went from that to where Genie is today.
Okay, so mine is, a bit of a crazy story, and perhaps people wouldn't have expected it from me either, because I think they probably just thought that I woke up one day and Genie was just there. But actually, when I started my company, I worked for a company that hadn't paid me for 5 months. I had zero in the bank, like my car was almost taken off me. So I understand the challenges, of this region and, not being treated very well. And, and that was the last straw for me because I had a great reputation in the market. I was everyone's go-to, but what was going on behind the scenes was I wasn't being paid, even though I was, a top performer and coaching the others in the company. So what I did when I got to the last straw, it was around about my 30th birthday actually, and I just thought I can do this myself. I know that I can, but I need to make sure that I go and I take one of my colleagues with me. So Emily has been with me since the beginning as well. So I did need a little bit of money, and maybe it would have been a different story if I'd been paid. I could probably inject my own money, but I thought, well, who might want to invest in my business? And I thought, well, my clients love me and they love what we do. So maybe I'll create a client list that, maybe they will invest in me. And what I did, I had like a list, and I was really nervous of 20 different names of people that I'd served for many, many years who knew how I worked. And I thought, right, I'll start with the top 2 and then work down the list. The first 2 people that I asked, they said, okay, how much do you need? That was it.
Wow. That's amazing. And it is, it is sometimes it's getting past that fear, isn't it? That a lot of people have, even the fear of asking, that they're like, oh no, people won't hire me. Why would people want to hire me? Because I've just started. And it's amazing that you just had that courage to say, here I am. I've set up a recruiting company. Are you going to hire me?
Basically, do you want to help out? So I took a very small investment, actually, just to get going and just to make sure that I could start it. I could pay for the trade license. I could bootstrap the business, but I could start with one employee, because my mission was always to look after Emily as well. And I think that has really been the ethos of my business. Now that we're a team of 11 women, it's always been, I'm looking after the others, and that's the number one foundation of my business. I want to make them rich. That's it. Me, I'm at the back. I just want to make them very successful, whatever they do, give them confidence, in what they're doing, because, I didn't have that, unfortunately, working for an employer, right?
And that's really important as well, and you see that with some companies, is just the whole culture of the team. And if they love their jobs, they're going to stick around. They're going to do a good job for the business as well, and really represent your business well. And I know for you, your team, I noticed, and I meant to ask you about this, and I didn't ask you about it before. You recently took your whole team on a lovely little vacation as well. Tell me about the vacation that you did, or tell everybody else about what you did for the team.
Yeah, so last year, after everything with COVID and all the stress and God knows what was going on, I took the team to the Maldives, because we had an amazing quarter, and I thought, well, how else can we celebrate? The successes. We had basically hyper growth after lockdown, and I thought, well, let's go away. And I remember the screaming in the office.
Did you surprise them? You just walked in one day and you were like, Maldives.
What we do, so we have a lot of incentives. So anyone that follows us on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever it might be, I'm very generous with the team, and we're constantly doing games and, spa days and things that are fun, even like little presents, over Ramadan. We have an advent calendar every Ramadan, every Christmas, because I just want to celebrate all the little wins as well, So I'm quite big on that. So we had an incentive if they hit a certain number, that we would go on holiday. But because our team is complete mixed nationality, we're completely mixed, in everything else. So it was quite difficult to find a place that we could all go to. So Maldives came up as the only one, actually.
Oh, wonderful. And you went, how long did you go for? A week, or just a long weekend? Or what did you do with them?
5 nights. And the reason why it was, a little bit out there, Maldives is obviously quite premium. But 2 years previous, I had taken the team to Phuket Cleanse, which is quite a famous retreat, about mind, well-being. They teach you a lot, actually, over there.
That's one that's on my list of some place that I've really wanted to go to. And a few other entrepreneurs have told me that they've been there as well. I think it was Donna Benton who told me that she had gone to Phuket Cleanse, and it was amazing. And I was like, oh, if Donna's been there, okay.
Exactly. It's amazing. Like, I don't know, there's a really nice feel to that place. And it's a bit funny. So I actually won a competition. It was a raffle, actually, not even a competition. I won a raffle to actually go there in the first place, the first time I went. So I went the first time, and then I said to one of the consultants there, I said, gosh, I would really love to bring my team here. At this point, Genie wasn't making loads of money, so, it was a bit of a dream. I'm like, I'd love to bring my team here. Because, the mental health, how to deal with stress, how to deal with, a lot of maybe traumas, you could really deal with a lot of different things, gut health, all this kind of stuff. So that was the first time I put an incentive in to say, I'll take you all to a retreat abroad. And then we did it. We all went screaming, and I remember we worked in a co-working space at this point, so extra money was going on these trips to Thailand.
Rather than saving for an office, it was going to Thailand. Amazing.
But they remember it, definitely.
I think we've got a few people who are super jealous who all want to have you as their boss. They think that that's really amazing. So, so you've gone from that. So how long did it take you to go from Nicki just starting out, going with her top 20 list with one employee? How long did it take to grow? Was it something that was instant and you were like, woohoo, amazing? Or did it take some time to do as well?
Sorry, my dog's doing zoomies in the background. Hope you don't mind. She's just having a great time.
Perfect. It's entertainment.
So from getting this little bit of investment, let's say, to pay for the trade license, etc. It was quite quick, but also we were really, bootstrapping the business. I spent nothing on anything else, but the salary of Emily, the trade license, and maybe a little bit of stationery and our laptops. That was pretty much it in the beginning. We were working from apartments, from co-working spaces, from coffee shops, like all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it was really sorry.
The dog, it's dogs, kids. Yeah.
This is the thing.
When we've been doing these lives this week, we've had all sorts of things going on. It's okay. We even had somebody lose their internet connection, and I had to talk for 5 minutes until she came back. So
really?
we've had everything this week. So how long were you kind of like really bootstrapping before stuff was starting to come together?
So I have to admit, I'm probably still in the mindset of bootstrapping, even though, people see that it has been growth. Yeah, it has been huge growth, but honestly, everything that I do is very mindful of cash flow. It's very mindful of what I spend money on. How do I even describe it? I still have that mindset. The reserves, the cash reserves are huge, and it's based on dividends that I haven't paid myself, to make sure that I can pay my staff, I can pay commission, I can pay for fun incentives. If anything went wrong, and especially what happened during lockdown, I'm very, very conscious now. So to answer that question, it will always be bootstrapped in one sense, and everything that I do, all the extra bits, will only be for my team and the growth and the extra staff members, and making sure that we have the best tools. But it has been very organic. I didn't get a database from day one. I didn't pay for all these extra bits from day one. It was purely as soon as I saw a bit more revenue coming in.
And that's really important. I was talking to some other entrepreneurs about that this week, because I think sometimes, especially for business owners, if they've never had a business before, that sometimes all of a sudden when the money starts to come in, that all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is great. Look, I have money. Maybe all of a sudden there's 100,000 dirhams in the bank account. And then they're like, oh, I can pay myself 100,000 dirhams now, without thinking that all of that, exactly, right? You and I know that, 100, you need a lot more than 100,000 in that bank account. But it's just, you need to have the reserves, and you need to keep reinvesting in the business. And I don't know about you, but for me also as well, like I'm always constantly looking at, okay, what do I need to invest in to grow the business? How do I make it bigger? How do I make it stronger? No, I'm not going to pay myself, because I need to reinvest that money to make it better. And are you a little bit like that as well?
Yeah, 100%. And actually, one of the biggest tips I've always given people from day one is, to pay yourself a salary. Like always, keep something, but it doesn't have to be a huge salary, just to cover the kind of basics. And honestly, the business is 5 years old in October, and up until 4 years old, I still paid myself exactly what I paid myself from day one, and I only ever took extra out of some dividends, whenever we were making profit. And luckily that has been, over maybe the past kind of 12 to 18 months, I've actually been able to start really taking good amounts out,
Oh, yay. Finally, the entrepreneur's dream, that you can pay yourself a salary. How wonderful is that, Nicki? That's amazing.
Yeah, this is funny.
It's such a good feeling, because it does take a lot of time. And this is the other thing. I think as entrepreneurs, we can be very impatient. And it's like, I want to have this happen now. What next? What next? And sometimes one of the things that I see for entrepreneurs, what makes them successful is the ones that keep sticking with it and knowing that it's not going to happen in 3 months or in 6 months, that you are looking at the long game. Like, for example, for you, you've been going for 5 years now. So it's not, you have to, as you said, still bootstrapping after 5 years.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I saw it in the previous business that I worked in. As soon as we had a good month, our boss at the time would buy, new Louboutins, new Prada bags, and then not pay us. And I thought, I would never do that. And honestly, I'm not one to really buy designer things or anything like that still, because to me, me and my team are exactly the same level. Like whether the intern, the resource, or someone with 2 weeks experience, I want them to feel that I am on their level, because I am, very much. I don't even know if there's a definition for the way that I run my business, but I call it bottom up. I am the bottom. I'm the lowest, in terms of, I do the resourcing, I do the debt collection, I'm running around on my own PA, that kind of thing. But I love it. I'm each individual member of staff's like support system. If they've got a gap, maybe they don't understand a job, I'm going to jump in and help them. And that's about having quite a high, maybe emotional intelligence, and also really understanding what's going on in the room. Like no recruiter is going to be excellent at everything. It's impossible. No way. Like there's no way. And, I look around the room and I see that some people are very good at managing a lot of projects. Some people, aren't so good at business development. Maybe some people, aren't so good at resourcing, but I know that I can fill those gaps in when needed. Because I'm still a billing consultant. Surprised, a big surprise to a lot of people. I still have my own clients. I still have a number on the board with the rest.
But sometimes it's kind of nice to still have that, to be in the game a bit, and then you're still in touch with the client, and you're still in touch with what's happening. And sometimes that gives you more emotional intelligence to run your business as well, that you are still having all of those dialogues and conversations.
Yeah, definitely. And at the end of the day, I'm the person that has the most experience in recruitment, so I should be billing. Okay, I have other things to do, but I'll always be, if I can hand over a client and then still support or handhold until they really understand that account, then I will. Yeah. And I do that quite a lot, actually. That's been quite a new thing over the past 2 years. I've really handheld until a certain point, and then off you go, butterfly, look after them yourself.
But that's how they're going to grow, right? And then you'll know as well that they'll be able to really deliver within the business, because they're doing things the Nicki way as well, I guess, right? That they understand how to do the recruitment the way that you want, or the Genie way, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the Genie way. And my ethos, I guess, is more about giving people confidence to do it themselves, or giving people the support to be successful. They don't need to be 100%, 24/7, but I can fill in those extra percentages, or other members of the team can as well. So the way that we work is very collaborative. We don't look at KPIs, or we don't look at numbers. The only time we look at numbers is when it's related to incentives, fun incentives. So then we're like, okay, there's a little bit of.
Then you're on that when it involves a trip to the Maldives. Then everybody's looking.
Yeah, but it doesn't penalize anyone, and the whole team goes on those trips. The whole team goes on these incentives, because it takes all 11 of us to do all those things, to create those numbers together. So I don't look individually like a lot of salespeople, a lot of recruiters. And during lockdown, I had many recruitment bosses call me that never wanted to speak to me before, but they were calling me asking for advice as to how did I still have jobs on, how was I paying all my staff full salaries, how had I not paid, how had I not made anyone redundant. And I just said, because I'm really close with my clients. The clients like us, we were almost like besties, or an extension to many of the amazing stories, in this region, incredible stories of startups that have been very successful, and who were there from day one, like us, accepting multiple checks, and, doing barter deals.
But that's really nice as well, to be so close to your clients.
Yeah.
A couple of things that I've seen that's really interesting that you've said that I think entrepreneurs can learn from is, one thing you talked about was that, no job is too small and it doesn't matter that you'll do it. And that's one thing. So as entrepreneurs, oftentimes you end up doing it all in the very beginning. But then many entrepreneurs, that when they get to a point, all of a sudden it's like, no, admin, I'm not going to do it. I have this person doing it. No, I'm not going to do that. Somebody else is going to do it. But it is really important to be able to do everything, because as a business owner, you don't know maybe if there is a time that you need to step in, but also as well, you need to know how your business is running. And if you haven't been involved in that and you're not touching and feeling it, you won't be able to know if it's working or not.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I mean, okay, I knew my weaknesses from day one, and I always had an accountant from day one as well. So he's the guy, actually. He's part-time. He's our secret guy that does kind of ad hoc work for us. But he was there from day one, and but everything else that's like administrative or I do it myself still. I think that we will get to the point probably over the next few months where I need some help. But again, I love interns. I'm very passionate about having interns. We have about 5, 6 a year, all different backgrounds, different time, like they're with us. The longest was with us for 10 months, and she ended up actually going in-house with one of our clients. Like, what an amazing opportunity to walk straight into a job like that, and that's what we do. We create absolute superstars because I see their strengths as well, and because I have done a lot of the legwork, whether it is social media, not that I'm that great at social media. LinkedIn I'm quite good at, but the other, I don't know, I'm not so good at. Administration, debt collection, whatever it might be, taught myself Canva. I feel like I'm quite good at that. I teach them as well. The first thing they do, day maybe 3, they're on Canva making posts. I'm like, this is really important. I think this is a really important tool.
Yeah.
Like that. And then like whether it's like contract work, legal, like that's something I had to teach myself. I wrote all the contracts myself over 2 days, like analyzing every word, things like that.
And so what would you say if you were to give advice to business owners, especially those who are, worried about cost or how to build their business and how to build their business quickly? What would be your top tips to them for how they will be able to do that and grow their business?
Definitely. I would say, definitely play to your strengths. If you know that you're not strong in a particular area, okay, spend some money on that area, but don't go wild. Don't get an accountant and a marketer and a social media. You don't need all that stuff. You can learn a lot of these things. And actually the best way to market yourself is organically, like through referrals, through being your authentic self. Like I share a lot of things on Instagram. I don't know if people enjoy it or not, but if you look back at every single, I create like the highlights. You can see the story from the beginning, when we were working from Starbucks and Dubai Mall, and we were getting free coffees. Like, oh, thank you so much. You can see the story.
But it's really interesting as well how quickly, like if you stick with it and if you're consistent, that how quickly your business starts to accelerate. And if you sort of stay the course and you don't give up, that after a while, every day seems to get just that little bit easier for you. That's what I've noticed with all of the businesses. I've noticed it with my businesses as well, that if you hang on, even though if you feel like sometimes it's not going well, if you stay consistent and hang on, it's only going to get better.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, people buy from people, don't they? And if you're likable and you're authentic and you're helpful, and in the beginning, I really did give a lot, because I always said, and, I'm Buddhist, so I always said that whatever I give out, I know that it'll come back. Not that I do that for that reason, but it's going to come back. I was like, whatever happens, I know that all these helpful things I do and all the connections I make, I know that it's going to come back round somewhere. And it really has, it really has for us. Business.
And you are, I'm going to put a little banner up for that, because I want to talk to you about the Fusion Circle, because you've been in that for a while. And talking about being a giver is something that we talk about so much in the Fusion Circle, right? That it's not a place where people just turn up and like try to throw out their business cards or try to sell. It's that place where you make the authentic connection and meet the people that are going to be your supporters in business. How have you found it for you? Like, has it helped you professionally in your business?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, it's kind of lonely sometimes, being an entrepreneur, not as in like, I've got lots of friends and things like that, but a lot of people would not necessarily understand you, and the other side, the career side that you're doing. And, it was, the actually being part of Female Fusion was originally, obviously, before Fusion Circle. I think I was one of the first members.
You were like probably one of our first like 10 founding members, like back way in the beginning. Yeah. So you've been here from the very beginning. And even like, and I said to people as well, because I have a lot of people asking me about how to create memberships and how to build communities. And one of the things I say to them is, I'm like, just go and do it, because the first membership that you launch is always going to look terrible, and it's always going to be kind of a bit of a mess. And then you work out how to do it and it comes together. It's better to start and do it and then continue to grow and build on it. And it is the community.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, where I really, obviously I've always benefited, I've always benefited, because the questions in the beginning, I'm sure, were bizarre, like compared to what my questions would be now, but nothing is bizarre, anything you ask is so helpful. And like, I have been through some of the horrendous things. Like, it took me 13 months to open a business bank account. I have multiple trade licenses. I've been through it. I know. Yeah. So like, I can help, like, definitely. And I can, I don't know, give strength in some ways sometimes to individuals that maybe are, like struggling or finding it quite challenging, because it is challenging. Like anything to do with starting a business is challenging, and you'll always have obstacles. But definitely during lockdown, like, and I'll say it all the time, like, I look to that page every single day, just for a little bit of strength to keep me going, because something happened to me during lockdown. I don't know, like some kind of crazy superpower took over me, and I went into hyper focus mode, because I thought, right, if I don't go into some kind of stratosphere of productivity, I'm not going to have a business after this.
Yeah, and I did exactly the same thing. That I think probably I worked the hardest that I ever worked over kind of lockdown 2020, 2021, 2022. In all my 20 years of being an entrepreneur, these past 3 years have probably been the absolute hardest that I've worked.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Didn't it teach you a lot though about your own grit?
Well, it's insane. I don't know if you found this, that just the amount that I've learned, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs have been like this, that because there has been the pressure that business has been harder, that people have been upskilling, teaching themselves new things, learning how to do things in more of a bootstrap way, cut costs. How can you automate things so you don't have to spend so much money on stuff? That the past couple of years have been great for that, because money has been tight. So we have had to be a bit more innovative in the way we do things.
Yeah, definitely. And that it was one of the best times, because, well, I'd say best times, it wasn't the best time, but in terms of being able to make like those kind of close relationships, and I really benefited in a lot of ways out of amazing relationships that I gained during lockdown, and also, some of the things that I was involved with, I never would have had the chance before, I don't think. And I don't know, like we did a lot of things that I think just benefited the community. Like, like as I said earlier, like I did pay all my staff full salaries, and I thought, well, I can't, have them there twiddling their thumbs. So what shall we do? many people got made redundant. Let's just open our calendars. And, over 3 weeks, we spoke to about 500 people that have been made redundant. And still to this day, people, they say, do you remember I spoke to you, during some of my darkest times, and you gave me this great advice, or one of the team gave me this great advice, and it just, was really important to me, or, I'll always recommend you because of that, because you have heart in what you do,
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. And it is, but it goes back to the giving, right? And this is like, as a business owner, this is one thing we're always speaking about in the Fusion Circle. And I think as you get older and more established, that you're like, no, it's okay, because you've seen that you give and then it comes back. Like you
Always.
providing all of those consults that I could imagine maybe some of them have gone on to have roles that are like, oh, we need recruiters, we're going to call Genie. And
Exactly.
so you do stay top of mind. So it's like putting that money into the bank and then you take it out at another time when you need it. But there's no expectation. It's just putting good out there to the universe.
100%. There's incredible books by an author called Adam Grant. If anyone's into, reading, this kind of thing, like there's one called The Originals, which I love. I go to that book often to give me some strength, I guess. And then there's another one called Give and Take, and they're amazing. They give you a lot of ideas, and sometimes I like to read a lot of books that just reassure me that the things that I do are correct in a way. Like other leaders do that, or almost like other coaches. I guess I describe myself as more of a coach. I don't even like the word boss. Like coach them.
And what about one thing that I've noticed from having this conversation is just how inspirational you are as a leader, and to be able to motivate your team. This is one area that I think entrepreneurs struggle with as they start to grow their team, is to be able to manage the team, support them. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs who are maybe building their team about how they can create a work culture like yours? Maybe they might not be able to afford to send their team to the Maldives, but how can they create a culture where their employees are going to feel loved, respected, and a really positive work culture?
Yeah, I think that the key really is to understand them. To understand that they're people at the end of the day. They're going to have bad weeks. They're going to have maybe some hormonal, let's say, dramas going on. They might have had fights at home, with their partners. They might be really tired, like with their kids or whatever it might be, and to really understand what's going on, and not to judge too quickly, to be there like as a sounding board for everyone, really. And like I call them, they're like my family, and they know that they can come to me about anything. It doesn't matter what it is, like literally anything, and I will help them. I'll book appointments for them. I'm quite into alternative health, like Reiki, meditation. I'll get them involved in these different areas and different avenues, because at the end of the day, they respect you, or they should, and they look up to you, to help them, like in times where they need some support. And it's not always going to be like all fun and rosy, but in the days where it is like that, just to make sure that that it's not going to keep within you. You're not going to hold those grudges. And I always say to everyone, especially when they are learning to maybe manage others, I'm like, right, put yourself in their shoes, like think, well, put yourself in that person's shoes, and especially if they're going through a challenge, and think, oh gosh, they might be really despairing over something that you, as maybe someone with more experience, thinks, oh, it doesn't matter, like, but they really might be despairing about those things. And I think that being on their level and saying, well, this is something that you could try, or this is something that you could think about, and then they go away inspired. I've had a number of times where, it's normal. Like I've had a couple of people that have been approached for jobs, right? And then they come to me and then they speak to me openly about it. And then in the end, they're crying to me, like, and then they stay because, I managed to be on their level. I don't know, like, you always get distractions in jobs. And I think being able to just say, like, you can be yourself in this company. That's what I want you to be. All the different personalities. I'm not molding them into one box. Like my lot are crazy. You know, they've got different strengths. Some are quieter, some like partying every day of the week. But I don't mind, you know, if they show up and do their job, it's fine.
Yeah, but I still have more questions on this, because I think as well, I want to be able to give some of this knowledge to entrepreneurs, because people is the big thing for business owners, especially new business owners. Out of curiosity, how much time would you say in your working week is spent kind of on HR people issues? Like, would you say it's quite a small amount, or is it
Zero? We have
zero?
no politics in our company, no dramas. My retention of staff is unbelievable. Like, I've never had anyone leave. You know, I had one that wanted to go back to education, which is fine.
Yeah.
You know, and
I'm wondering, like, what advice, because this is really interesting, and I bet entrepreneurs who are watching this, or maybe watching it on the replay, because I hear so many complaints from people about, it's so difficult to get like the right team dynamics. I'm spending so much time on drama and people complaining or not delivering. And so I'm just trying to like delve a little bit deeper to find out what Nicki's secret is, how this will help other entrepreneurs. And one thing I wonder is, do you think as well that it has to do, and this is probably where you've aced it, is from the recruitment side of things, right? That you're a recruiter, so you maybe know how to find the right people. That is there something that entrepreneurs should be looking for when they're hiring staff for their team? Because often when you grow, that growth happens very suddenly, and then all of a sudden people are in a situation where it's like, oh my goodness, I need more staff. And maybe some steps are skipped where they'll hire a friend or a friend of a friend or a family member or somebody who someone else knows, who might not necessarily be the right person for the job, but they just need somebody to come in and do it.
I think a few tips, I guess, is from day one, I never change the goalposts, you know, in terms of in my company, like everyone, if you're a resourcer, you're paid exactly the same, regardless what nationality, how many years experience. It's based on job title. It goes kind of up. So that never changed. My commissions never changed. I always have had some things implemented into the contract, like duvet days is a big one, because so we have 3 duvet days, and then part of our incentive is that you can gain more duvet days, and they're actually there for, say, if you are hungover or you can't be bothered to come to work, honestly, or you just really just don't want to come to work, and it's fine. You just call me, say, or message me even in the morning and say, I'm taking a duvet. No questions asked. Don't come in, no problem. Like, we have those implemented, which I think is part of the culture, you know, like understanding that you're not going to be on form every single day of the year. It's impossible. So yeah, having a few things like this. And then I think that the culture really comes from the leadership, you know, and understanding. And, you know, I don't recruit based on experience. I recruit based on my gut. You know, my gut instinct, and also based on personality. I like people from industry even. I don't know, like sometimes I see a CV and I think, oh, you know, recruiter, and they've got nothing to do with recruitment whatsoever. I just know.
Sometimes it's just the right personality, isn't it? So one other question on that, I'm really interested, because I think this will help entrepreneurs, because it's better to have you say it rather than me, where you brought up the whole thing about there's this issue historically in this region that people will pay different salaries for the same role depending upon where your passport is from. And you don't do that. And would you say, like, let's say a business is recruiting, would you recommend that, for example, that they publish what the salary is and be upfront about that and say very clearly what the job entails? Or what would your advice be on that for entrepreneurs?
I think just to have a policy in place. I don't necessarily agree that everyone should list all the salaries. I know that's always a big talking point, but from my perspective, as someone that manages candidates all day long, if a salary is listed, often people will say they want the higher end of that salary, and maybe that might not be correct. It's up to the employer what they think. They might think, oh, that person's actually missing this and missing that, but they don't want to say that, right? We're not offering you 35 because you're missing this. It's more about, right, we're going to offer you 31, let's say, and then a progression plan, to see what I mean when it comes to candidate expectations. So I think what's the most important thing is to make sure as an employer that you have your own policy, your own morals, your own, because they will talk, like your staff will talk with each other. And this is where the toxicity comes, because say someone that is at the same job title or same level as another person, and they're earning 5,000 dirham less, it's not fair. It really, of course that's going to cause problems, and people are like open books, and you do get really strong bonds, between members of the team. And it's okay, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 dirham difference, especially if someone's on a growth plan or whatever it might be. That makes sense to me. But otherwise, I think that to have some policies in place when it comes to salaries, definitely.
Yeah. So insightful. And I just wanted to keep asking you those questions because I think it will help entrepreneurs so much, because the people side. And I think we're going to have to do a masterclass as well, Nicki. I'm bringing you into the Fusion Circle because we haven't done a Nicki masterclass yet. So
no, I know. I don't know. So I admit something. I'm not the best person to show up and be I'm a bit shy of the camera, which is quite funny because obviously I share a lot about my business, but I'm not that. I like to be behind the scenes, and I would really love my team to be in front of the camera all the time, because I really kind of actually celebrate them more than anything. So and I know I need to do more of these things.
Well, you know what? Fusion Circle next month is Personal Branding Month. And so we're working all on helping our members show up more, especially for more of the senior members. So it's what we're doing for Personal Branding Month is we're having content for people who are just starting out in their businesses, and then people like you who have had a business for a while, where we're working more on showing up for presentations, showing up for media interviews, and really being able to smash those as well. So I'm going to make sure that I pin you down for that. Remind you, I'll send you a calendar invitation.
No, that's my weakness. And it's so funny because actually when I've been thrown into certain things, I did okay, actually. I did a big talk. I did a talk a few years ago with, Dr. Sarah Al-Madani. It was in front of 500 marketing people. We had the head of marketing for Facebook, and I spoke about how LinkedIn basically. I spoke about, and they were shocked, that I had so many followers, and they were like, "How many times do you post a day?" I was like, 3 times a day, and they were like, across the room, they're like, "Whoa!" Kind of brought it forward that this is what I do, and this is what I've always done. Actually, I didn't even know. I just did it because I wanted to share all these things.
I guess sometimes it's just stepping out of your comfort zone, isn't it? And realizing that it's going to be okay. I have, we have a comment. Oh, it's from Julie. She says she loves to be behind the scenes, and now getting visible is quite a challenge. So, okay, Julie, we're gonna get Julie for Personal Branding Month as well.
I totally understand that. It's a funny one, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, Nicki, it has been so amazing. Thank you so much for the gift of your time this evening and sharing all of your knowledge with everybody. It has just been remarkable. And it's for anybody, well, if anybody wants to reach Nicki as well, we put up Nicki's, we put your social media handle, and I'm sure anybody on LinkedIn will be able to find you all over LinkedIn. And you are the go-to lady when it comes to recruitment, especially for FMCG as well. So definitely, if you do need recruitment, and if you're in the Fusion Circle, you will find Nicki in the Fusion Circle, and she's a rock star with supporting our members in the Fusion Circle. And if you're not in the Fusion Circle, you've got a couple more days, midnight on the 22nd. So Sunday night, The founder rate is over and the price is going up, and it's never going to be this low again. So do get in before that ends. Nicki, thank you so much for your time this evening. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. And sorry that you can see Sooty, my dog, is obviously thirsty or hungry or something.
Look, when it's an evening, when we're doing it in the evening and we've been working all day, I think we need a bit of distraction and entertainment from the dogs as well. So that's perfect.
Honestly, her bowl has ended up right there because she's like, can you give me some food or something?
Thank you so much, Nicki. Just 1 second, we'll end the broadcast. Thank you, everybody, for taking part this evening as well.